if it gives you an option of 10 ideas or whatever, okay, let's go in on idea number 2. Let's expand the idea into 10 more subtopics. Okay, tell me why. Give me the opposing opinion for this idea. There's so many different ways that you can iterate with ChatGPT to get more and better responses and get more and more specific, go deeper, deeper, deeper. Welcome to Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs, the podcast that shows you how to leverage the power of AI technology without wasting your time or selling your soul. Let's embrace making AI work for you. Hey, my human friend, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and today we are talking about the best prompting practices that you can use with AI tools like ChatGPT. So if you're one of those people, and I am raising my hand over here, I feel you, and I have heard it from so many people in my community, from my students, all the different stuff. If you're one of those people who has been excited about using AI tools like ChatGPT, and you start playing around with it, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. But then as you start to use it more, you're like, oh, this is frustrating. It's not giving me what I want. It's like pulling teeth to try to get a great response out of ChatGPT. My friend, I feel you. And that's why today I'm sharing the best prompting practices that we should all be using when we are using AI tools like ChatGPT. These are the things that we constantly need to be reminding ourselves of, myself included, because it is really easy to kind of get into that snowball of, okay, I'm using AI and ChatGPT just knows what I'm thinking, right? Or to just be in the middle of a task and be like, okay, I got to ask ChatGPT a quick question, but then it ends up taking 15 minutes because I didn't utilize these best prompting practices because I was in a hurry. But guess what? It ended up wasting me way more time than if I had just originally used these best prompting practices, right? So that's what I'm going to be sharing in today's episode. 3 of those best prompting practices that we all need to know when we are using tools like ChatGPT. But I will say, if you are a person who has been using AI tools and you're loving using them, but you do wish that you knew AI prompting techniques that would help you get better responses from the get-go, I am hosting a live training later this month called AI Prompting Techniques for Better Results. Pretty easy. But basically, I'm just going to be sharing some of these specific next level techniques that I use every day to really get the best results from ChatGPT. These are the techniques that really no one is talking about. We're going to be getting super specific with examples of things that you can do as you are using these AI tools in your everyday to create content for you and write copy for you. These are techniques that if you're loving using AI tools, but you are feeling frustrated or you're feeling like you're just wasting some time sometimes with it, then these are the techniques that you'll want to learn about. So if you would like to join this free training, head to DIY-with.ai/training. DIY-with.ai/training. I'll link that in the show notes below. Definitely head there, sign up now, because not only will I be teaching you next level AI prompting techniques, but I will also be opening it up for Q&A. So you definitely want to catch this training live. Head to DIY-with.ai/training. That's where you can sign up today, and you don't want to miss this one, let me tell you. All right, now let's go ahead and dive into the best prompting practices for AI tools like ChatGPT. All right, my friend. So like I said in the intro, these are the best practices that you should be utilizing every time you're using AI tools. These are practices that are definitely things that we need to always be remembering and thinking about every time we use tools like ChatGPT, because it really is so easy to get sucked into thinking that ChatGPT just knows all and can do all, right? I myself, especially when I'm like in the middle of a task, find myself going to ChatGPT and just like not implementing these best practices that I know I should be doing just because I'm trying to hurry. I don't want to waste time, which I end up then probably wasting more time when I don't utilize these best practices that I'm about to share with you in today's episode, right? So even if you are a longtime ChatGPT user, I know that you'll need reminded of these best practices. And it's something that we just need to really remember to be implementing again and again and again every time we use this platform. And once again, I just want to remind you, if you are looking for next level AI prompting techniques that will get you better results from the get-go so that you don't have to feel frustrated with everything that ChatGPT throws your way, I am doing that live training at the end of this month. Definitely head to DIY.ai/training to sign up now. It's free, and I will be sharing specific prompting techniques that I use with ChatGPT every day to make sure that I am getting exactly what I want out of it. This is not just the basic prompting practices. This is the next level strategies, how to craft prompts and train ChatGPT in a way that will actually give you exactly what you're looking for, right? So head to DIY.ai/training to sign up for the training now. Okay, let's get into these best practices when it comes to prompting with AI tools like ChatGPT. So the very first thing that we need to do is train ChatGPT to understand our brand. And you have probably heard me say this before again and again. I will shout it from the rooftops. We need to tell ChatGPT who our brand is, what our mission is, what our opinions are, what we care about, all that different stuff, and also who we are talking to, aka our ideal customers. In order to be able to create the best content ideas and for ChatGPT to write copy that sounds similar to our brand voice, we need to train it on our brand, okay? And I do have several episodes that share tips for training ChatGPT on your brand voice. Scroll back, check them out. And or we do have our brand persona for ChatGPT mini course. Within an hour, it will help you train ChatGPT on your brand persona, and it walks you through 2 proven methods of getting ChatGPT to write copy that sounds like you, right? So check out our mini course, DIY.ai/mini course. That will also be linked in the show notes below for you. Okay, now the first best prompting practice to get better responses out of ChatGPT is to be as specific as possible with your prompt. Generic prompts will get you generic results. So instead of just going to ChatGPT and being like, brainstorm name ideas for a podcast, or brainstorm name ideas for my community. Oh, no. Let's get way more specific than that. You need to be telling ChatGPT exactly what you're looking for, giving it the strategy that it needs to know before it can help you brainstorm content ideas or write copy for you. You need to be telling it exactly who you are, what you're talking about, what the context of the situation is. Get as specific as possible on the topics, the context. And then if you're having it write copy for you, the formatting, the length, any other details that might be helpful for it in crafting its response to you. The more specific you can get with it, the better, my friend. You will be amazed at how different the results are that it gives you if you go to it asking, hey, can you brainstorm content ideas for my brand versus, hey, can you give me 10 specific relatable ideas for text on top of a Reels video in a daily life moment of my brand, which is XYZ, right? And even getting more and more specific on the topic and exactly what you're looking for, right? Tell it exactly what you are looking for and how it should respond to you. And that's how you will get the best response possible from the get-go. Okay, so always type up your question or whatever it is to ChatGPT and then take a look back at it, read back through it and say, hey, can I give it more details? Can I get even more specific than this? Speak to it as if you were speaking to an intern. This is kind of a mindset flip that I always like to make when I am prompting ChatGPT, because it really is easy to think that robots know all and can do all. I even find myself falling into this trap being like, okay, well, ChatGPT knows exactly what I'm thinking, and I forget to tell it what I'm thinking. If you think about it as an intern, if you actually think about it as a human or an assistant that you are trying to train on your brand and that you are trying to get to do a task for you, give it all the details you would give a human being, okay? Because that's how it's going to be able to give you the results that you want, right? Okay, the second best prompting practice is to go back and forth with it. Iterate. Okay. This is another thing that a lot of us don't always remember to do or don't always realize when we are just starting to use these AI tools, right? We forget that this is a conversation and just not a Google question and ask, right? I think that we're used to going to Google or asking Alexa a single question and then having it give us the answer. But that's not how ChatGPT or a similar AI tool works. This is meant to be a chat. Right? It's a chat bot, which means it's a conversation that you can go back and forth with it. So that means that the first response it gives you is probably not going to be the ultimate response that you were looking for. And that's okay, right? Because the first response does tend to be the more generic response. And the next few responses will get a little bit deeper, will get a little bit more specific, will sound a little bit more unique, right? So if it gives you an option of 10 ideas or whatever, okay, let's go in on idea number 2. Let's expand the idea into 10 more subtopics. Okay, tell me why. Give me the opposing opinion for this idea. There's so many different ways that you can iterate with ChatGPT to get more and better responses and get more and more specific, go deeper, deeper, deeper. And you don't have to just settle for the very first thing that it throws your way. So actually, that is something that I'm going to be talking about more in our live training later this month, is how we can really use a technique with ChatGPT that does dive deeper, deeper, deeper until we finally get exactly what we're looking for. It's something that I use in my content creation process every month. And it's something that I'm going to be sharing during our live training later this month. So definitely go sign up for it. It's DIY with .ai/training. It's linked below. Okay. The third best prompting practice that I wanted to share in today's episode is to use your brain, okay? And this is just something that needs to be said. And I'm sorry if you're rolling your eyes right now, but it really is so easy for us to get sucked into the whole world of AI technology and forget to use our critical thinking skills. Okay. So when you are coming to ChatGPT and asking it to help you, generate ideas or write copy or whatever it is, if you bring your own ideas, opinions, thoughts, writing style, strategy for how you want the copy to flow to ChatGPT first, then it will be able to help you get the answer that you want, get to the place where you want to be more quickly than you going back and forth with it, just like pulling teeth, trying to get the response you want out of it, right? So use your brain first when you bring the prompt to ChatGPT. Bring your own ideas. Tell it exactly what you want. Don't just tell it what topic you want it to talk about, but tell it what your thoughts are on this topic. Explain exactly the point that you want to make with this topic first. And also use that when it comes to the formatting, the writing style, just how you want the caption to flow. This is how I get the best responses possible out of ChatGPT from the get-go. I will be going more into detail into that one as well in the training later this month. And then the other thing when it comes to using your brain is not just to use your brain in the very beginning, but also use your critical thinking skills with the responses that ChatGPT throws your way, right? So it is not a know-all, always right thing just because it's a robot. No, it can be wrong. It can just be flat out incorrect with some of its responses that it gives you. And it can also be wrong for your brand. So everything that ChatGPT throws your way, make sure that you are running it through the filter of your brand. You're thinking critically. Does this make sense for me? Is this actually factual? What does my brand think about this topic? And if needed, that's when you can bring the iteration into it, right? You don't know how many times I've had ChatGPT be like, this is, one of the best tips for whatever the topic is that I'm talking about. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, really, ChatGPT? But what about this? Or, oh, ChatGPT, I actually think the opposite of that for Feel Good Social. And it will come back to me being like, oh, okay, I see your point of view, Kinsey, or, oh, okay, that's also a great tip. Let's incorporate that into the messaging for this caption or this podcast episode or whatever it is, right? So those are the 3 best basic prompting practices that you always need to keep in mind when you are using AI tools like ChatGPT. be as specific as possible. If you think you're being specific, go back in and get even more specific. Tell it more. Tell it more details about what you want, what you're talking about, and how you want it to respond, what you want it to give you. And that is how you will get an initial response that is great. Then after that, make sure that you are going back and forth with this process. You can't expect it to just give you the perfect answer right away. Let's go back and forth with it. Let's change things up. Let's go even deeper into specific things that it gives you. And that is how you will get even better, more unique responses that probably align more with your brand. And then number 3, always be using your own brain, bringing your own thoughts, opinions, ideas to ChatGPT first, and then thinking critically about the stuff that it throws your way. And again, in this training later this month, I'm going to go deeper into even more specific techniques that you can use with ChatGPT to get it to give you better responses, to get it to give you exactly what you're looking for. I will be sharing specific prompts that I use all the time and specific examples of ways that you can get it to tweak different things and give you the specific stuff that you're looking for. So make sure you sign up for our training, AI Prompting Techniques for Better Results, later this month. You can sign up now at diywith.ai/training. I cannot wait to see you there. Thank you so much for tuning in to Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs, my friend. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your shows.